Welcome back, beautiful hearts. I'm Susan,
And I'm Carissa.
and together we make two open hearts.
And today we're here to talk to you about lost souls and what lost souls are and how we can help them to cross over into the light.
They are around everywhere, these lost souls. Um, they just missed their first out. Maybe they had ties to people, or maybe there was some trauma that they had to release and get to a point where they're ready to cross over. And those are the ones that we will be talking about today.
Yes, and they can be human lost souls and also animal lost souls. So either humans or animals that have passed away and like Susan said just didn't go on to the light at that time and they're now free roaming. We call them free roaming lost souls. So we want to make that distinction because there are other types of entities or other types of ghosts, if you will, that are attached to a place, are attached to a thing, an item, and those ones are not free roaming, and they a lot of times are going to require more help. So sometimes they are not ready to go at all. They might be angry. You might feel different things. So if you have found this video and you are in, let's say, a typical haunted area, if your house has a lot of paranormal activity and it feels angry, then our method right now is not likely to be that helpful to you. And we do recommend that you seek someone to help you clear your home or any items in your home. And that is easy these days. There are tons of people who are able to do that. So you can Google finding people to help you clear your home. And if you can't find anyone through Google, then look up your nearest energy practitioners, even Reiki practitioners, and ask them if they know somebody, because chances are they do know somebody who can help.
Yes, there's lots of options in this day and age that we live in now. When I was young, my house was haunted, and there were not any options at that time other than the church, and it was difficult to get them to come out and assist in any way. But now things are pretty open. There's a lot of people that do house clearings and help those beings, those entities to leave.
Yeah. Now, everyone has heard about those kinds of beings, the ones that haunt a particular place. And I know in general, people realize that there have to be a lot more lost souls than that. People and animals both who passed in a traumatizing way or for one reason or another just weren't ready to go into the light. But there can be a lot, especially depending on where you're at and if anyone in your area is doing the work to help them across already. So we find that it's something we've run into a bunch as healers, as light workers, and as bright, shiny people. And one of the reasons is because a lot of these free roaming lost souls have finished their business and they are ready to go into the light. And I don't see it this way, but it was described to me that many of us who are awakened, awakening, loving people, even if they are not aware of psychic abilities or anything like that. But if you have a big heart and you love animals and you love earth and you're generous to your fellow people, a lot of us look like bright, white, shining like orbs or globes. You know, our whole auric field shines like a light. Does that sound right?
Yep, that sounds right.
And so if we are shiny, especially if we're in a place, out in the middle of nature or I don't know, even in a grocery store, if you're shiny and there's a free roaming lost soul and they're like, man, I want to get to that light. I know it's time. It's time for me to go. I finished my business here. Sometimes they will see you and you look like a big shining light to them. And so what happens is they try to go into that light and they might get entangled in your energetic field. And we have both had this happen as well. And so it's important to be aware of the lost souls and what you can do if you feel any of these things or notice any of these things that we're going to talk about next, because then it might be very applicable for you to help cross them over and you'll feel a lot lighter as well.
Yes, a lot of times when they are in our fields, they can cause us to feel depressed or cause us to feel sad, heavy, weighed down. just because as empaths, we do feel that. And everyone is somewhat empathic. And so you'll pick up on those feelings. Sometimes they try to reach out to us through maybe flicking lights, or I've had situations where they turn on music boxes to signal me to that they are there. Sometimes they will do different things to make noise, unusual things. So, and I know there's no one there, so there's noise being made, and it's generally from them.
Yeah, and you just have a knowing, because we also work with many guides, but we can tell the difference if it's a guide or which kind of being it is now. And if you don't already work, well, if you do already work with guides, you'll recognize their energy, so you won't even think of it being something else. And if you don't yet work with a lot of guides, then it's still probably, if something's trying to get your attention, it still is likely to be a lost soul, not because guides wouldn't, but because they're probably waiting for you to interact with them more, is my experience.
Yeah, I agree. I think that generally guides, they're waiting for you to initiate that contact, that you wish to work with them. And the lost souls, they're trying to get our attention because they are trying to get into the light, and they think that we're the light. So
And
they'll do many different things.
if they figured out that we're not the light, they still might see how shiny we are and ask for help into the light, because some of us are very shiny. I mean, as a collective, the human collective, excitingly, is getting shinier, all of us. Even those who are not doing spiritual work, what we deem as spiritual work here in this community, even those who are not doing the same things maybe that I am, in general, we're all getting brighter and brighter, which I find to be very exciting. But lost souls will still possibly pinpoint those of you that look brighter or just feel nicer, right? You've got that loving energy. You're a loving person. They might come to you for help, and you might not know how to help them. And this has also been SuSun and I's experience, because lost souls began coming around both of us before we knew how to help them.
Yes, they are attracted to your energy. They sometimes they just quite frankly like your energy too. So there are some that are attracted to the light, some that are attracted to the energy that you hold, and they just really like it and they want to be around you.
Mhm.
And
Yeah. And some of the reasons I wanted to go back a little and talk about what my theory is on why, when there's a lot of lost souls, or one that's particularly close to my energy field. So even if they're not in my light, entangled in my field, they might still come to my home. They might follow me to my place because they enjoy that energy. It helps them feel a little bit better. Because a lot of times, if they've been lost souls for a while, I mean, kind of imagine how that would be. You've passed on, and you are either afraid to go to the light, or you feel guilty, or you have some reason for staying. And then after a while, you're here and you're just roaming. And in my experience with them, they begin to feel very hopeless and helpless, because they know they're not supposed to still be here. They have a place they can go, and they have a place that they're called to, and they don't know how to get there. So what's happened to me as an empath is, if I start feeling hopeless and helpless in my life and in my home, and I don't have a reason, I'll always be like, okay, first of all, is this energy mine or is it not mine? And a lot of times it's not mine. And then I have to sort out, is it the collective's energy? Because sometimes the hopelessness of the collective also weighs down on me, or is it not the collective? And a lot of times, recently, it's often been more the collective, but that's because I'm so much better and faster at crossing over beings now. Before I understood what was happening, I had that oppressive, heavy hopelessness surround me for months at a time, without understanding that it was simply beings hanging around me who wanted help.
right.
So that is why you may feel that way, because they're hopeless. So you're feeling it. And then you're just feeling it. And then it feels like yours. And you're like, I'm hopeless all the time. Well, might not be you. So this is why it's so important.
Right. And sometimes I know that in my life, sometimes um, I've felt them come, and I know that there are beings there. But before I got involved in the energy work and knew how to cross people over. I didn't know exactly why they were there. I could feel them, I could sense them. I would know that they were there, but I didn't know who they were or why. Um, and sometimes I had more of a sort of like a revolving door, sometimes I felt like in my home. So beings would come and they would leave, and they would come and they would leave. But I think a lot of them were definitely just the lost souls looking for help crossing over into the light.
Yep. Or just enjoying your energy along the way since you weren't able to help. They were just enjoying that compassion and that light while they were there.
Yes, that's true too. Some of them probably did just enjoy my energy. Um, we've had
Yep.
some, we've had one that a young man actually who had followed my husband home, and he was fond of opening the garage door where my husband had picked him up. He kind of hitchhiked home with him. He was doing a job at a house, and he was working the garage door there, always opening it up. And so um, he was made aware of it, but then he didn't have any idea that he had followed him home until all of a sudden our garage door was always being left open, because not because we were leaving it open, but this particular lost soul was opening the garage.
It was actually kind of funny because where my dad had been working, he'd even asked the owner, and they figured that someone in the neighborhood had the same signal as them because they had known that the door would just open randomly when it wasn't supposed to. And my dad is also an energy worker. So he was like, uh-huh, yeah, someone else has the same door, and just went along with it until his door at home started opening. And then he was like, okay, crap, I've got nice things in my garage. How can we help this lost soul along so that he doesn't do this anymore here?
Right. And he was reluctant to go. He really enjoyed my husband's company and his energy, and wanted to spend time around him. So it took a little bit to encourage him to head into the light.
Yep, to go where you belong. So that's another thing too. They're not, even if their business is finished, they're still not always like excited and ready and jumping for the light. Sometimes they're still scared because it's unknown and they do need a little help. And that's what we work with here. And anybody who is called to do this can help animals and people who are lost souls free roaming to cross over. And they might not all go. But this is a method that if you find yourself and you're surrounded by some or even just one and you want to offer it to them, it's something beautiful because it opens a direct portal for them to go to the light.
Yes, a lot of them are actually are reluctant to go because there is fear involved. And so we do incorporate forgiveness. We let them know that they are forgiven and that they are loved. And with that encouragement, it does help them to head into the light.
Hmm. And we're working with the angelic realm as well. Really, they're the ones kind of facilitating this. We're the ones inviting it in and being the anchor for it to happen. And we ask the angels, as you'll see, because we're going to walk you through it later in the video. As you see, we ask the angels to bring forth their loved ones so that they can see where they're going and they are not alone. So it's a beautiful process. It's beautiful and it's worthwhile. And even if you don't feel any lost souls right now, you never know if you'll end up in a place where they are there, because SuSun and I have also experienced, since we can tell a little earlier now if there's any around. We'll go months where we don't have a lost soul around would asking for help. But sometimes when we travel somewhere else, there is a plentiful amount who see us and go, they know how to help us. And then there's a little bit of work to be done, but it is a beautiful thing to help in such a way.
It is a beautiful thing to help in such a way. And they do reach out. The beings do make us aware of their presence and of the help that they would like to have.
Mhm. Yeah, and sometimes you'll just feel heaviness over an area. Like I travel often to some different grasslands because my family and I like to look for reptiles. So we're out driving at night trying to find fun, scaly critters. And in different areas, I'll feel the heaviness maybe of not tragedy, but just a lot of heaviness from trauma from animals maybe in the area, sometimes people, sometimes both. It really depends on what's occurred there or what I feel. And you got to think about it on Earth here. You know, people have lived all over every aspect in most environments on Earth. And there's been many, 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 many generations of people. And sometimes there are lost souls from hundreds of years ago who haven't figured out how to go yet. So no matter where you are, chances are it would be really helpful to your surrounding area to offer this to any lost souls who are there.
Yes, it would. And also to the animals, there's different, with the different slaughterhouses and different,
Just traumatic events.
yeah,
Like,
traumatic events, forest fires,
yes,
lightning
forest fires.
strikes, because a lot of animals actually are killed by lightning strikes, because it goes into the ground, and if they're within a certain perimeter, that takes them all out.
Yeah.
So, and it's
So,
something that creates trauma.
yeah, like unexpected sometimes, unexpected things like fires, they can kind of see them coming, but that's, you know, that's harder because then animals lose their homes too. So there's all sorts of emotions to also neutralize after an event like that. And just roadkill, we were talking, if there's a highway nearby or an area that there is a lot of animals, then that's a place where I found sometimes they get stuck. Their souls don't know how to go after being hit sometimes. So it's just something you can do. I do it actually still on a smaller scale. If I see any roadkill, I'll offer it as I drive by. So it's kind of a faster. So we'll walk you through it, and then I can kind of talk at the end how I do it faster for any being that if I see any dead on the road.
Yep, that sounds good.
So we are experienced in this. It's kind of funny because it's not something you just expect to get into, right? People just it's all of our spiritual gifts are always beautiful and surprising because you never really know what you're going to fall into, I think. But it is always nice in every scenario to be helpful and to be just helpful, being able to help lost souls not be lost anymore and be found and be in the light and move to their next level of incarnation, move to their next level of consciousness, whatever they need. It's a beautiful thing.
Yes, it is beautiful to be of service to humanity, to be of service to the animal kingdom, um, to the bug kingdom. It it is beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So without further ado, we will get into a little bit of our process. And I just want to look down at my notes to make sure. Yeah. So there are three main things that I would like to highlight in our process. And again, like you don't have to have any knowledge of how to do any of this when you start, because it's all, if you've seen our previous video about helping the human collective, we talk about how being a human is so powerful and how you're able to anchor energies into Earth because you're a child of Earth. So you can help other children of Earth and you can help call in beings to assist. So I highly recommend that video too if this interests you. That one likely will as well, and I'll link it in the description. So the first thing we do is we call in the angels. So SuSun and I are going to do this today for our area, and anyone is welcome to follow along with us with how to do this for a larger area. So a lot of times, if there's one or two of us, we're guided that we can help all lost souls within 100-mile radius. You can start smaller if you want. You can start big if you want. I've never found any harm to be from starting big, but go with your instincts. I like to do a go big or go home kind of thing. You know, if I can make a
Yes.
change, I like to make the biggest change, but that's not always for everyone. So do what's right for you. So we always begin by inviting in the angels who are of the highest vibration of unconditional love to help us today. And I especially call in Archangel Michael. He's always helped me with this. He's just very amazing. I love him. And we ask the angels to come in and with us today, please open up a portal from each SuSun and I, because we're in different locations, but we're within 20 miles of each other. But I would like a portal opened that encompasses 100 miles from each of us out in all directions. And We want this portal to be to assist any human lost souls and animal lost souls to the light. So it's a big portal of light taking them up to where their next level of consciousness is supposed to go. And we're going to ask that the angels as well, please bring to the edge of this portal. As you can imagine this beautiful light opening up in the sky, right? The angels are facilitating this beautiful light. And at the edge of this rim of light, we're inviting the angels to bring forth all of the loved ones of the lost souls down here so that they can see their loved ones up there shining and happy, and those loved ones can help them. We would also like to call forth the energy of the white light of Lemuria. This energy has its own consciousness. We work with it a lot. And if you're interested, you can go. We taught a class online teaching how to activate this energy. So if you want to be able to activate it within yourself, go review that. But you don't have to activate it within yourself to call it forward and to call it to help you, to call it to help any being. So we ask the white light of Lemuria now to also come down through this portal and shine and be available for any lost souls who wish to take part, because they have their own free will. I'm not forcing this on any of them. The portal is available and the white light of Lemuria is also available. So if they would like to, you can sometimes have the white light come in as water, like pools of water or a waterfall or a ray of light. So if the beings want to wash themselves, wash away their trauma, they are now welcome to do so. So we've asked those to be opened. And it's always important to keep a time in mind. So I'm asking the angels and the white light of Lemuria to be open for a minimum of 2 hours. And if every being who wishes to cross over has done so before that, then they can close early. And otherwise, please stay for 2 hours today to allow those who are making their way to the portal.
Yes,
And our
very
last
beautiful.
step, yes, it feels good. And it just, you can, seeing that big light, even if you don't see it, imagining a beautiful big portal of light for all these beings to go home to feels nice. And as SuSun was saying before, the last step is helping them with forgiveness. So I'm going to let her kind of walk us through that part.
Well, what we do is we do let them all know that they are forgiven and that they are loved, and it's okay for them to leave. It's okay for them to step into the light, to use the white light of Lemuria in any way. To it, I see it sometimes as a white fluffy cloud, or as Carissa said, a lovely pool of water or waterfall to wash away everything. And we just let them know, reassure them that they are forgiven, that they are loved, and it is okay for them to go. And then it is their choice. As Carissa said, we never force any human being or any animal to depart this earth. It's always their choice. We just start helping them to go if that is what they want to do.
Yes. So you can imagine yourself just imagine yourself kind of standing in the middle on the ground in the middle of that portal. And what you say when you say you're forgiven, that energy goes to everyone around you. So we don't just envision it, we'll say it directly. So I'm going to have SuSun say it for us. So we're in this portal now. We've opened this portal 100 miles around all of us. And so we're both going to think it. I'm going to let her say it and I'll be right there thinking it with her. And maybe I'll just say it right after she says it, like repeat after her, actually, because that way they've heard it from 2 people and it's just nicer. So we're talking now to all the lost souls in our area.
Yes, all of the lost souls, human, animal. You are forgiven. You are loved.
You are forgiven. And you are loved. So I don't know if those of you watching the video could feel it, but there was a big, almost sigh of relief after we said those words, because beings need to hear that sometimes, that no matter what they did as a human, because really no matter what they did, I don't care. I don't care who they are and what they did. they are welcomed back to source, and they are welcome to go to their next level of consciousness. And so for them to know that and to know they are forgiven, it helps them greatly.
Yes, it does. A lot of times they have been held back here on earth because of the fear, because the fear of being not forgiven for any event that maybe had happened in their lives.
Yes.
So,
And the unknown, and being told things maybe about the next place they go that aren't
yes,
necessarily true, because everyone is forgiven. The universe loves everybody. That's how it
yes,
works.
yes,
Sorry
there
about
is.
that noise in the background, by the way, but everyone is loved.
Yes, there is much love for every single being. And that's all there is love. And forgiveness is absolute.
Yes. Yes. So please take this. And I said I would give a little in-depth. I know we're kind of getting here at the end of our video. So I want to say, so if I see an animal who is been passed away on the side of the road, what I will do is I will, in a very quick method, invoke the angels. I'll just be like, angels, please circle them and offer them a portal to the light. White light of Lemuria, please come down through that portal and offer yourself to them. Animal, you don't have to take it if you don't want, but if you'd like it, it will be here for you for 2 hours. And I ask the angels in the white light to close at that time. And it's all, you can see the animal and be driving 90 miles an hour. Hopefully you're not driving 90 miles an hour, but you know what I mean? You can be on the highway. And as long as you say those things in your mind, it will go to that animal and it will stay there. So it's like, as you see them and you go, please open a portal and white light for them and offer it to them if they want. And then you just keep driving. And it's nice because it helps. Some of them have already gone to the light too. Not every animal you see will have been stuck there. A lot of them go ahead and go to the light, but it just helps because the ones that don't then get that second chance right away.
Yes. Yes, because we never really know. And when you're driving, you don't have time to really tap in to see. But we do know that a lot of times the roadkill, it's been a traumatic event. They weren't expecting to be hit and killed on the road. So it is nice that we can do that for them. And we set a time limit on it also, always, so that the portal is not left open.
Yeah, it's one thing, try to remember. I wasn't always stellar at it when we started, I'll be honest. It was not my strong suit, which is why I'm much better at it now. So I try now to always say right when I open it at the last that I want it closed. So, 2 hour maximum. Because otherwise I'll be woken up in the middle of the night with a guide reminding me that I have left a portal open somewhere, and that's not as good. So I'm much better at it now. But even if you're not, when you remember at any time in the middle of the night, in the middle of the day, when you're peeing, if they remind you you've left a portal open, just go, okay, and now ask that that portal be closed, because that's the important part, no matter what time it is.
Yes. And it's that simple as well, just to have the intention that you're closing it.
Yep. And that's with any portal. You can intend it. Even if you opened it in a ceremony, you can close it mentally from somewhere else. So if you've accidentally left one open, please close it. Unless it's one that's intended to always be open, shining light. You'll know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So with all of that, we hope this video has helped you today, and we hope that you are able to take this forth and help any lost souls who are free roaming around you to cross over to the light.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us today. And if you like this video, please hit like. And if you would like to see more, please hit subscribe. We are putting out one new video a week, and we'd be happy to have you join us again.
Mm-hmm.